All right, so we are recording. I would like us to take just a little bit of time. I'm a little like jacked up. Like I'm not used to teaching in the afternoon. It's really interesting. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I really have a class today at 4 o'clock. And I've done it before. So sometimes I like, it's a different engagement for my brain. I love new things all the time. So I want to just take some time for us to like rub your fingertips together on both hands, just enough that you might even feel the sensation of the ridges. And Tripti, I learned this in positive intelligence. Wanted you to know that. And use your, like, what are you hearing close by? The sound of my voice, but also what are you hearing around you or across the street or the noises of the furnace working? And just really slow down your breathing. Relax in your chair. Like I'm just feeling like I need to just give myself a hug and just trusting that everything that we bring to this call today are your questions, my responses, my coaching, that like everything that happens today is exactly what's supposed to happen. And this isn't where we don't solve the whole year. We solve today. My biggest work is helping you to step into your vision and intentions of what you have for this year, but be aware of what obstacles that you have control over are getting in your way. And so I am going to teach a coaching model that I use, and we're going to use it for awareness first and then intentions next. So I kind of flip how I work it. And so I'll be doing that today. And this is a chance for you, like whatever's coming up, like if you in the middle of the session start getting a lot of ideas and it's starting to flow, shut off the whole thing. Like leave the room, go get that done and go listen to the recording later. Like committing to this energy of creating your best life ever in 2025 is allowing to come through what your heart and soul really want. And I think that happens by taking a lot of action and doing all the things we've been taught to do. But I think it's like really honor what's happening for you in this session. Write down the things that are starting to come to you, and we'll go from there. I would love if everyone would share a 2-word check in. I'll go first of just how you're feeling right now. And mine is I'll lead and then just share your company name, like your name and like where you're from, because we've got some diversity on that today. And Dana's here. Okay. So my 2-word check-in is a little nervous, but almost brought to tears with the community I'm beginning to build. Like I am seeing faces consistently in my sessions, some of your clients. I love the way I've met each and every one of you from different walks of life and how I have this gorgeous opportunity to bring you all together and learn from one another. So that's where I'm at today. A little more than 2 words. And I'm Diana Murphy, and I am a coach for those that are high achievers that have self-sacrificed for a really long time and they've been rewarded for that. We all have in the way that we create money and growth in our careers. But now we're looking up and going, I'm missing something. What about my relationships? What about my relationship with self? And so that's the work I'm doing. Who would like to share their 2-word check-in and their name and where they're from, what you're up to? Really quickly, because we want to
Mhm.
really get into, okay, Megan.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Megan Hotchkiss, and I'm just going to do one word. My word is eager.
Eager. Great. I
eager.
love that energy.
And I'm right in between jobs, which does not mean I'm unemployed. It means I'm
Isn't
really
that
between
fun?
jobs. I just left a communications job that wasn't a good fit for me. And then next week, I'm starting at Emory Law in communications. So it's the perfect time for me to like make the transition, figure out what I want to do before I get there.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're here. Who would like to go next?
Cheryl,
Yeah, Cheryl.
yeah, Cheryl Delclagood. I'm the executive director of a national trade association, works with international English language programs all over the United States, universities and such to teach international students. I come from that field, but I've been in this role for 10 years. And I've heard that there's kind of well, that there could be a 10 years is kind of getting to the point of burnout. And I don't know if it's because I read that once and now I feel that way
Yeah,
or
implanted mindset. Thank you.
exactly. But I'm considering stepping away from the role with a real strong succession plan and such.
Yeah.
My two words or hyphenated word is open-minded.
Oh, awesome. Next. Yes, Rochelle.
My name's Rochelle Stevenson. I have a company called Oh Hello Video. We do brand storytelling. And my one word is motivated. I just feel like I'm getting off on the right foot already in 2025. And in part, that's due to starting in 2024 at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Ready to go. Who'd like to go next? Yes.
Hi, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Tripty. You go first.
Okay.
It's okay.
Sorry. Now, my word is believe. I think I put growth for 2024 because I've grown so much.
Yeah.
But now I really believe that I'll make things happen this year. So, my
Awesome.
goals, I know I'll just achieve it this year. I mean, things are just falling in place. And I'm in Atlanta, so it was wonderful meeting you yesterday.
Yes.
And I think the motivator now is I did not make it into the PQ because I'm not a paid coach yet. So
Yes.
I'm going to make it happen.
Awesome. And Tripty is a weight loss coach, and she
That's
comes from the
right.
same school I went to.
Yeah.
And Kim also is from that school and many other places. Kim, you want to go next? What are your two words? Introduce yourself.
I can. My biggest word right now is curious. I'm even curious what I'm doing in Atlanta at this point.
I know she had canceled plans and we met for dinner last night. I made her, this is the third trip, and I was like, girl, we are going to make this happen. And we
Good thing
did.
they sent us home with food because I haven't had food today. So
Oh, God.
anyway, my name is Kim. I'm from Louisiana. I've been a coach since 2012, and I've been in the LCS world with Diana. And my I have an integrative mind body coach training. So my mission is to get coaching into the hands of more people. I believe our entire world can change from all ages.
Yep.
And this year, I'm really focused on my legacy play, which the vision is for legacy leaders to bring their vision to life. That is like, I know this is the year to do that. I've been training the coaches for long enough, and they have something very specific, mission driven, and I want to help them bring it to the world, and it's all in the form of coaching.
Awesome. Next. Shari.
Hi, I'm Sherry Hertzberg,
Sha-
and my company is Divorce Source. I help men and women with all of their to-dos associated with divorce, whether it's contemplation, everything that one needs to do while they're getting divorced, and everything at the end. My words for this year are bandwidth, and I say that because my daughter went off to college this year, so I have just more space, all kinds of space, physical space, emotional space. I've got space for myself, more space, and I'm looking forward to growing my company and also investing in myself, in my personal growth.
I love it. Emily, go next.
I'm unmuted, I think. Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I'm Emily Nybo. I'm coming to you all from Charlotte today. My two words are resilient and hopeful. I do diversity, equity, and inclusion, but I also have been in and out of like the talent, human capital, org strategy space for the last 15 years of my career. And I say resilient and hopeful because I took a job that I thought was going to be my dream job, relocated everything that I owned to Charlotte, and then got laid off. My position got terminated right before Christmas. So I am in a new city. But the last 3 years have been a ride. I got divorced, the divorce coach, and other things. Get a coffee with me. It's I could write a book. It's been nuts. Yeah. But anyway, Diana's laughing because she knows it's too true. But anyway, yeah. So I'm trying to figure it out. I don't think I like entrepreneurial life, but I'm also taking this season I'll be a certified women's circle facilitator. So kind of using my corporate skills and touching a little bit of the woo world. So
Yeah, I love it.
trying new stuff.
Awesome. Kristen.
Yeah, I was going to say I can go. I'm Kristen Rocco. It's so good to be here with everybody. Thank you for hosting us, Diana. My word of the year is empower. I've been on my own empowerment journey for about 2 years now, and I'm continuing to come into what that means for me. And this year, I want to get even stronger at empowering myself, but also others. I host a podcast called Bold Moves. How did you know? And we're all about making bold moves in my community. And so I am really wanting to help other people break down their barriers, embrace bold choices with courage, and lead confidently. So that's one aspect of what I do. The other aspect of what I do is I'm a content marketing consultant, and I focus on helping companies create bolder content to drive deeper engagement and connection with their audience.
And I love our podcast, and we've been on each other's, and that was one of my best episodes, was interviewing Kristen. So fun. All right, Michelle.
Hi, good
Hey,
afternoon,
friend.
everyone. Hello, Michelle Jackson. I'm a private wealth advisor with Capital Group. I work with high net worth families, individuals, and nonprofit organizations with their complicated financial solutions and their investment plans. I've been in my industry for 33 years, but I came back to client facing 5 years ago. So anyone who's built a business and you know where you are in year 5, it's like crazy trajectory growth. And so I'm also one of those women where we were sold on the premise of having your children later in life and you can have it all, right? Well, now I really have it all. I'm in the sandwich generation with kids still. I'm trying to launch to university and I'm taking care of my elderly parents between 2 different states. So my focus, or my 2 words, are slow or deliberate growth, or grow with no. Kind of works together.
Yeah, I love that. That is the intention of the way I'm doing this workshop, is that there are many of us that know how to create it and grow at a high trajectory, but are we doing it at a place that is more deliberate and has that way of honoring our well-being and our lives in a way that really is nurturing instead of taking away from us? Yeah. Dana, are you able to be on mic? Yes.
I
Go
am.
ahead.
I am. I just pulled in and my daughter's getting out of the car.
Great.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dana Xavier Doznick. I'm the CEO of the Lola. It's nice to see some familiar faces here on the call today. And my words for this year are thrive. I feel like last year I was learning a lot and building the foundation for growth. And this year I am ready to thrive in so many ways, from a personal health perspective and from a business wealth perspective, and really honing in on what that means for me, because I forgot a lot about me in 2024 and I'm really interested in digging back into me. So this really resonated, and thank you, Diana, for hosting us all.
Oh,
This is
you are
fantastic.
welcome. I want to reread what I heard, and there's more than I didn't capture every word, but it's eager. I think we can just hold space, like all of us can embrace the energy of what we're sharing. Eager, open-minded, motivated, in belief, curious. bandwidth. That feels expansive. Resilient, hopeful, empower others, slow, deliberate growth, thrive. And these experiences, I'm learning that like each container and each time I have an opportunity to draw people together, it's its own fingerprint. Like I'm doing the same workshop, I do the same breakfasts, I do the same, events, and we all are bringing something unique. And I just want to thank you so much for being so forthright and so open and ready to go. So let's go. My first question for you, and giving you some quiet time to really dig in here for about, let's just say 10 minutes. And if you need more time, leave space on your notes so that you can go back tonight and really dig in. But this is the time to set vision. This is time to let yourself dream. What would you love to see, truly see, as you close 2025? And what this could mean, and I will put these in the chat you can even close your screens if you need to. But what does this mean on any regular Tuesday? What does it mean in your business? But what also does it mean in your real life and your relationships? What would you love to see as you close 2025? And I will print them here. And in this, just get as big picture and as detailed as what's coming up for you. Just trust what's coming through from those questions. And if you're already done and want to go deeper, like answering the question why you want those things is another way to honor this. So if you're already really clear about what you'd love to see at the end of the year and you're kind of done with that, why? All right. Just hold your thumb in that place. Give yourself some extra room to write if you're not fully done. What did you notice? What stood out to you in doing this exercise? And feel free to unmic. I think most of you are in a quiet background. We can just have a easy conversation. Rochelle.
I think I said the same exact thing last year, and I didn't get to where I want to be, but I'm like, okay, we're gonna try this again. So it just feels like I'm digging in harder.
Yeah. Yeah. What though? Like, I just hear some self-judgment in that way that you're looking at it, which is so normal. Like, as we look at our year ends when they're like I look at revenue numbers and I look at, and I'm like, wait, that's not what, like, I normally make this much and I make, any of those types of things. What in what you created in this last year, even outside of work, is so teeing you up for next year?
Somebody said something like this earlier, but I learned, maybe it was Dana, I learned so much about myself last year through a lot of mistakes that I made, a
Yeah.
lot of wrong turns, and I don't discount those things. I'm
Yeah.
super grateful for all of the wrong turns. I feel like those wrong turns are why I am where I am right now. Did I answer the question?
You did. I
Okay.
think you did. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else, what did you notice from this exercise? What's kind of popped out at you? Yeah, Kim.
I noticed that I want separation. So I've been in business for over 30 years, and my life is business and my business is my life, and it just all blends
Ooh.
together. And I wrote several times like clean and focused and solid schedule, defined work play, like not balance. I don't like this is more like an on and a off.
Hmm.
And I've never even craved that before. Like I'm just on.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, you shared with me how much coaching you were doing this year, and that, that some of this has informed you of the way that you want to do this going forward.
Yeah, and travel. Like I traveled, I went 33 times, like to like just banging it out by myself. And I wrote like business besties, collaboration.
Bringing more people into it, yeah, into those experiences.
I think it's more, it's not just like a business collaboration though. I think I'm looking for that buddy that it's
Yeah,
interesting. So I don't, there's a few things, but it was the same words that kept popping up.
yeah. Hey, yeah, it's good to
Clean
pay
and
attention
separate.
to.
Yeah, it's almost like porting the Red Sea. It's like this is this and this is this, and I know where it's at. I know who I am when I'm there and when I'm there, and I know what I want in between. So that feels clean and clear.
That's great. I love that. That's helpful. We're going to be borrowing from one another, just so you know. This is how this works. Anybody else? What stood out to you in doing that exercise? What did you notice? Yeah, Tripti.
Yeah, I think, just the energy in the room, like you said, it just brought out so much belief, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote a lot of times that, yes, this is what I want. This is what I want to make happen this year. And not only in family, but also in business and growth and in professional life.
Yeah.
So, in every aspect, that's
Yeah.
what came up for me.
Yeah. Anybody else before I move on? Yeah,
I
Kristen?
can share. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, my goals are related to growth, but under that, it's all related to positive high energy and not like things aren't always going to go the way I want them to this year, obviously, but I really want to thrive off of good energy and not getting too demoralized or dejected or, any of those other things. Like you can see how like some situations you can get really like down and out about, and for me this year I'm just like I want to just let it go. I just want to
Yeah.
be like, not big deal, let's go
Yeah. Yeah.
next.
Keep moving. Yeah.
Yeah, keep it moving.
Like almost a lighter attachment, it sounds like,
Yeah,
to,
I think
yeah,
I'm
to
ready for
the
that.
outcomes and what happens. Yeah.
Exactly. Like we'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, Sherry.
So I think for me, it's like thriving and diversification. And I look back and I don't have a blueprint for thriving. My parents weren't thrivers, they were survivors.
Mm-hmm.
So I can look at someone and say, wow, that person's really thriving. And that's what I'd like for myself. So it's tapping into that and learning more how to do that personally for my
Yeah.
personal life, and just diversifying and tapping into what I'm really interested in, because I put that aside with love to raise my daughter as a single mom. So
Yeah.
would never, ever, no regrets. But now it's time for me to dig back in and be like, what is it that I enjoy? What brings me joy? What am I interested in? So that's
Yeah.
the personal side. And then the professional side, it is more diversification, um, and doing more with doing more work with more clients
But
and
yeah,
grow.
at the same time, though, honoring this thriving, which,
Yes.
yeah, I'm remembering your words from your form, and it's like not like, how am I going to do more? And the magic is when we really honor this rhythm of thriving personally, and really dig into our what we're really dreaming about doing, it becomes easy. It's backwards about how we've been taught. We've been taught work 8 to 5, do more, do more, do more, do more. And here we have it, and we have less of ourselves. And so the realization, what I've learned in my own 10 years of being in business is that when I do things that light me up like this and do like what is my bend and not worry about what others think and take more vacation time when I want to and honor client agreements all along the way. And it's like, whoa, because it's a rhythm of restoration that then gives like our energy to expand into our businesses because we are one human. Like we've been trying to split ourselves and it doesn't work because the personal side of ourselves usually is the one that loses.
So I
And
was
it's great
writing.
that you go ahead.
So while I was writing, it's interesting because I achieve my goals typically that I write every year. But this past year, my journey of achieving those goals, like I always say, we plan and God laughs. Like God was having a great time laughing all last year at my life. But I achieved my goals, but it wasn't the journey that I really wanted to take. So when I was writing them, I was thinking like, well, how do I make sure my path or my journey is one that's not fraught with craziness, that's more in a calm and peaceful path for me.
Yeah. And then I see, like what Kim offered, there's so much synergy in what you all are looking for. Like Michelle, I think what you had shared in your form, maybe it's like in Kim offers, maybe it's scheduled vacation versus random. It's it doesn't mean that random doesn't like also happen, but it's like I used to wait for like, oh, I'll go visit my son in Dallas when Brooke does an event there. And then I'll give myself permission to do it because then it's only okay if I tie it with business. Or just creating the capacity and the energy of planning ahead where we want to be vacationing and how often. And like I look at weeks where I know that I do not want to work 1 hour. And then I'll look at other vacations and inform the people I'm with that I'm going to have a work day in there and keep up with my clients because that'll be too much time away. And then I work off site and still honor like personally what I love doing. Like I'm doing a road trip to my mom's in Florida and it's a total vacation. I've never done it this way. I've learned from my boyfriend that I like slow drives instead of going on the highway. And I'm a great highway driver. And we are like just going to take 2 days, maybe 3, maybe 2 on the way back, however we want to do it. But I had to inform him, it's like, I have 4 really important appointments on this day. I'm going to put them all in one day. So, see, it's not disregarding, like, we can integrate the things that we need to be doing and up to and tandem them. But when we disregard planning stuff just for ourselves, that's true time off, it really can be harmful. Because I don't know about you, but I always like then keep waiting and I realize I didn't see my son for 11 months. I was like, oh, that didn't feel good. Any other insights? And then I want to go into, I just love what you're seeing. What are you seeing when you did this exercise? Anybody else like to share?
Well, Diana, I had an insight when we were
Yes,
talking
please
about
share.
thriving. When we were just talking about thriving, I wrote down in my notebook undefined goalposts. And what I meant by that is like thriving can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. What does it mean for me? What
Me.
does it mean for you? What does it mean? What does success mean? I think we have a habit, or maybe I'll just speak for myself, of saying, yeah, I want success this year. But when the goalpost is always moving, it sets you up for
Yeah,
feeling those dissatisfaction feelings. When you can say,
absolutely.
oh
Like,
yeah, that's what I plan for myself. Check, check, check.
yeah. And when we define it, our brain starts solving for it too. Like when we get more
Mhm.
detailed on what we want, not the how, I think sometimes that can get us locked in. The hows are trying and doing different things. But when we have defining what thriving might mean this year versus last year. Like thriving might always be a value for you, but what does it mean for you this year? And getting very specific. Like for me, it used to be I was a heavy, hard workout person and I almost needed rotator cuff surgery last year. And so I'm like slowing down. I gained some weight because I like wasn't operating at that higher metabolism. And I'm like, so thriving for me this year looks very different. It's soft. It's very different than I've done. So it's also very uncomfortable. And so it's like looking, I just love what you brought to the table here because when we get very specific and define what we really mean by the words that you've shared, keep digging in. I've done word of the year for 2 years where I had monthly calls with the coach about them. So we dug in to that word and what it meant in all these facets. So I really encourage you to keep defining what that word of the year means in business. What does it mean in, wow, my friendships? What does it mean in areas that's getting your attention? Dig deep. And it gives you just such, I think it's a way that our soul and the creator, however you like, gets more access to help us understand what we're up to this year. I think it becomes a more collaborative process. Anybody else? Anything else you want to process here? That was gorgeous. I love that. Hey, Dana, did you
Hi
want to share?
there. Yeah, I do. I
Go
do.
ahead.
The words clean, clear, and light kept kind of bubbling up as
Ooh,
I like really started to have a moment to myself and start to think through things a little bit more. And like the clear brain, right? Getting your mind reset and ready to function at its optimum level, which will also mean a clean body, right? And thinking through eating habits and already devoting, at least 30 minutes to physical movement every day in whatever fashion. And I'm just going to add on 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes a month to eventually work up to a full 60-minute workout
yeah,
by the end of the year, right? Just incremental because I'm a woman of extremes, and if I set a big goal, I fall short, and I'm just going to do it slow and incrementally this year. So clean, clear, and then light. Light, I know there's a few heavy things ahead for me. I am
yeah,
also of that sandwich generation and have, some things on the parental side and some health challenges that are going on there. And I've got a fifth grader and eighth grader who are having big years for themselves and graduations and things like that. And all of that feels a little heavy. So I'm looking to figure out how to add more light and
yeah,
feel lighter, and that, and I forget who said it, but energy. I want, and Diana, you bring this, Rochelle, you've brought this, bring such good energy into my world. And I just want to continue, and so many other women at the Lola as well, but just want to continue to bring that and be able to match that energy.
yeah,
And that comes from the clearness and the
yeah,
clarity and feeling light myself. So those are my concentrated areas. And I already started when you said, Diana, I did the work with a coach on those words for a year. I started like writing the things underneath each of those that
yes,
will like bubble up into them. So
yeah.
thank you for this.
Yeah, I think just I want you all to, however this time set aside for yourself, however that is nurturing you, is realizing that that's an invitation to create more of this in your calendar. It's like I learned that I really don't like to coach until 10 a.m. unless I have a client that really travels a lot and like it's just learning my own energies and space. And I do really well when I honor that type of morning. Like I do a lot of journeys and things with that have been I did with my previous coach. And it's just like, okay, that really works for me. And so, like, learning that from being coached or being in a container. And then I do that, like, what do you want to integrate as a small step that gives you that white space feeling as you start the day? And then it's 4 o'clock and you're like, okay, now we'll deal with some of the real responsibilities with family and all. I want to honor something here too, Dana, the it's natural with what's going on for you. I'll just speak, and because I'm not going to, like, you haven't shared all the details. I don't want to I dishonor that. But there's so often the way that we approach something, like everyone tells us when something is going on that's hard or our initial reaction is heavy, that it's heavy and we have to combat it. And it's really honoring what's coming up for you mindset wise and belief that is making that heaviness, that you don't have to combat the heaviness, you can honor it. And then what could help me lighten it here? Is it comfort in talking about it, things with a friend? Is it getting more solo time? Is it, like, where can you heal the heaviness instead of feeling like you have to have lightness to overcome it? Does that make sense?
1000%.
Yeah.
I appreciate that as well because we need to sit in the feelings sometimes, but you can do that while going for a walk.
Yeah.
You can do that while,
Yeah.
cuddling
You focus
somebody
on the
on the
one issue
couch.
at the Lola and process that and then allow I think it's
Yeah.
the both and. Like, I'm
Hmm.
inviting you to both and that is so it's so easy for our brains and spaces that are hard that we get stuck in that space and don't realize we can be both. We
Yeah.
can do both. It's
Thank
possible.
you for that.
Yeah.
Can I add something
Yeah.
to that?
Thanks, Cheryl.
I think once before, I mean, you've all probably heard this expression that two things can be true.
Yeah.
What you guys,
Yes.
you two
I
were
like that.
talking
So
about.
succinct.
Yeah, because what I wrote is not doesn't feel very positive, and I'm not shaming myself or anything right now, but what I'm taking away at this very moment is, again, just to say I'm trying to decide whether and how to depart a
Yeah.
major association. I'm the only employee too, so it's harder that way. But two things can be true in that it can be, I mean, I did a really good job in this
Yeah.
job. So it can be true that it can be sad and kind of scary to leave. I'm not responsible, for the 10, 20 years ahead, but it doesn't erase,
Yeah.
the positive impact that I've had on the association. And I'm confusing that a lot the past
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, because we want to feel one thing, or we don't want
Yeah.
to feel the grief or the transition or whatever. It's just really natural for us. We've also been taught culturally that we're just supposed to be happy. That's the goal. Nope, I just want to be. Like, I am so sick of trying to be happy and not being allowed my full expression of what I'm experiencing. And I gave myself in my divorce journey like full permission, really for the first time in my life, to really feel all the things that were going on. And it brought so much wisdom on what was next. And it was fast and gorgeous healing. And so allowing our emotional experience is part of healing. But we've been taught to resist and encapsulate, we've been taught all these other ways to process. So we're doing some unlearning, I think, as a community. Like, we really are. Anything else before I move on? We get to talk about the hard stuff next and admit it. We're going to talk about obstacles next, but anything before I move on that feels unsaid? All right. And it's actually getting too hot in my office. I'm sorry, Cheryl. I will invite you over. Just a second. Let me turn this down. All right. So our next question is, what are the obstacles even when you were starting to write all of your vision and the things that you really want, this next year, this is your chance to really give yourself permission to admit what feels impossible. What are the obstacles? So I want you to take just the last this 8 minutes until the top of the hour. And Kristen, you have to leave at the top of the hour, right? Okay.
As luck would have it, that call got canceled.
I love when that happens. All right. Yeah. And Kim Guillory's here because her client couldn't fly in. So this is like, we're here because we're supposed to be. All right. So this next session is really giving yourself permission. This is the both and, right? We can have this huge, great, big vision, but what is coming up that feels like makes it impossible to get there? What are the obstacles? And then I'm going to teach you the thought model. All right. Go for it. All right. What did you notice here? Any insights, any like, and then think about whether you'd like me to coach you on this as I teach the thought model. So, what did you notice in this exercise? Yeah, Megan.
So I kind of came up with two different answers, two different themes. One of them is I haven't started the next job yet. So there's a lot of like unknowns. So if
Yeah.
my goal is like to kick ass, I will kick ass, but like it's unknown yet, right? But the other one is so something I figured out when I was getting my referrals for this job that I just got was I feel like I need a more robust professional support system. So I have a lot of colleagues that were kind of like same age, same professional experience. That's great for being like, I just had this problem with this client. How do you deal with this? But when it comes to like people who are maybe 10, 15, 20 years ahead of me who have gone through similar things, I don't have that support
Yeah.
system in there. So that's a current obstacle for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one to solve and be so aware of in this next year that that can be part of your success this year. Kicking ass can be really bringing in, and you might like what's really awesome about a new job too is that that shift in intention will make you more aware and be open to more of those relationships, even internally in your company. That's awesome. Anybody else? Obstacles? What came up? Yeah, Kim.
I might need coaching.
Go ahead.
What feels
Need coaches need coaches. Go ahead.
all the time.
All the time.
What feels impossible is I feel like a thoroughbred stuck and trapped in a gate or
Yeah.
trying to a Ferrari on the sidewalk in New York.
Yeah.
And like my brain and my energy are so fast and forceful.
Yeah.
And there's a hang up about being too much and doing too and I want to wait because I want others to come. And so there's this battle between those two of trying to slow it down when there's like I don't want to slow it down, but I have to slow it. Like there's this feel like there's so much to do and yeah.
And such a craving, it sounds like, to slow down.
I don't know about I don't know. It feels so slow. I have a lot of time. Like I have a lot of time. I have grown self-reliant kids and the going it alone. I don't want to go it alone. And I know we can't do anything alone. And I can't find the companions that want to move at the speed that I want to move.
Mm. And maybe I want to ask you a different question. When you first were sharing that, what does the thoroughbred need? Because it may not be people that want to run at the same pace as you, but what does that thoroughbred need? Like thinking about a horse too, because it's a live animal and sensitive and but just like trained to go. Like I'd work with that a little bit. What are some ways that that thoroughbred energy and that Ferrari really needs to be operating at that level?
It feels like I need to burn off some energy. Like I need like wide open space to just like let that 2-year-old lab just
Yeah. So is it play? Is it having some things that you just kind of let loose with that energy? Is it having a place to express it safely? Is it like I really would dig in here and look at what that thoroughbred needs? And the capacity, the shift in capacity of time. We have a couple people that I have dealt with this. Now I'm relishing in it, my friends. That's a grieving and like it's supposed to be all good and then it's supposed to, but it's like that is such a shift in your rhythm and Like honor that transition. Yeah, honor that. And I really feel like for most empty nesters, it's giving yourself some of that energy. It's like mothering. I gave the mother that did everything and the wife that did everything for 90% travel husband. Like I did everything for everyone else. And so then I did my business and I did it all for my business. And it was like now I had no choice but to start taking care of myself as I had to lift myself out of a marriage and into my life.
Yeah, it's super
Doesn't
interesting.
have to happen with that change, but it's like, yeah, there's a grieving and a leaning in on what that looks like for you. So the thoroughbred can keep going and keep doing the life-changing things she's doing.
Yeah, that would just the like
Yeah.
some relief.
Yeah. Somewhere for that energy to go and be expressed.
And I think a part of it is just as a coach, you guys know, in general, you're like your people are there. Like you're like, so there's this like trying not to bulldoze and run over them, you know, and so
Yeah.
it's so it
So it's
gets
like you need something.
yeah, it doesn't like to be able to release it because it's like I have to jump from a client that's doing multi seven figures to someone who's just getting started. It's like trying to shift
Yeah.
that dynamic. And so that's where I think the clean and clarity and focus came in.
Yeah.
To decide and maybe not do some things.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard on the system to.
Yeah. Like you're really seeing an energetic, like need for support and like what makes sense for you. Is it, certain days for certain types of clients? Is it you're going to figure it out? But it's really honoring that energy and knowing that like all of us a lot of us have one-on-one work here. Do all of us? Yes. And or communities. We have humans. And so we know that how we show up in that, in our businesses really affects our work and our customers' experiences. And so it might be a new level of that for you. Like you know how to hold space for a client. You've been coaching a really long time. I know that too. But I learned it in my divorce journey that my coaching, because I was coached so well, while I just dove in and got a lot of support, my coaching was actually better, not better, but it was really like most people are like, how are you coaching and also going through this? And it's like, because I'm taking care of the owner so that she can still do her job. Like I wasn't a new coach. That would have been a different experience.
Love it. Thank you for letting me know.
Okay. Anybody else or would somebody like to share an obstacle and go through the thought model? Let me see how my cameras are working here. Ooh, that works. Yep, you can see the whole thing. So Kim and Tracy know this model, and I don't use the model really. I use it very subtly in my coaching now. It's not as big a part, but my mindset work starts here because it's just a gorgeous awareness. So I use the thought model, which is our circumstances, the facts. So I want you to be thinking, if you'd like to run through your example with me, our circumstances trigger our thoughts. So circumstances are facts, and the thoughts are everything that kind of happens in a millisecond in that situation. Someone yells at you, you can be thinking, I'm not doing this right. And it's not that my boss thinks I'm not doing this right. No, my boss is yelling at me. That's the truth. But I'm not doing this right is a thought. So it might not be true, but it might be what triggered from that circumstance. So circumstances trigger our thoughts. Thoughts create an emotional experience, a feeling in our body. Feelings create actions or what I lovingly call inactions. Because a lot of what we typically would define as negative feelings, but I don't believe feelings are negative or positive. I'm getting there on that belief. But that those feelings create our actions or reactions in the world. And as we have, like, especially with a belief system around our business, if that belief, like, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, creates feelings of dismay or disappointment, then our actions are going to be less than if we had a different emotion most times. And so the culmination of all that action or inaction creates our results in our lives. So I'm going to flip this when on what we really intend, what result you want to create, but being very aware of what's coming up. And so I want each of you to do your own work in this around an obstacle. So the circumstances are goals and vision of 2025 that you already have owned. Sorry, my handwriting is horrible over there. All right, but what is an obstacle that came up for you that you'd love to work through on the model? Does anybody want to offer?
I can.
Okay. I would like to have somebody that doesn't know the model.
Oh,
Did you say, Kristen? You said yes? Okay.
I
Trip,
did
you
say
also-
yes. I
Awesome.
don't know the model, but
Perfect.
I'm also
That's-
happy to listen to somebody else.
No, I have two coaches that know the model, and I want to teach it to someone that doesn't know it. So I'd love to share. What's your obstacle that came up more like clearly around this?
Yes. Yes. So I have never done a lot of what I do now before. So I don't know a lot that I need to know. And I feel sometimes that can hold me back. And I like that you wrote inaction because I think I just don't know what direction to go. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because I don't know the right thing.
So I'd love to get this. Yeah, I think processing this could be really helpful to you because you might have more. This might be also blocking your intuition around what to do next.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
It just that just came to me. So
Yeah.
if you're thinking, I don't know, and it sounds like a consistent thought right now, how do you feel? Describe it in words and feeling in your body. How do you feel when in that moment where you are thinking, I don't know? How does that feel?
How does that feel? Overwhelming, I think.
And where do you feel it in your body?
Where do I feel it in my body?
Like even as you're talking about it right now, just scan your body and is there a
I
place
know,
where
I
that
kind of
emotion?
think I feel it in my chest, but I don't, I hope I'm not making that answer up, but maybe I maybe
No, I
feel
know.
it in my
I don't
chest.
think you are. Not a lot of us have been taught to kind of describe our emotions, and they usually live somewhere in our body.
Yeah.
So sometimes we get a gut and like almost nauseousness, or we can get like we're light and feathery. Like when I was nervous at the beginning, it was very much my solar plexus. So, but it's like giving ourselves the practice of naming an emotion and naming where it's living and what it feels like can be a way to watch what's going on for you and release it. Instead of getting stuck in overwhelm, it's a way to go, oh, I'm thinking that again. I'm getting tight. So that's like where the emotional work of this part of the model can be really helpful to flow through a bad moment so that you can get back to your concentrating or going for a walk and going, okay, how am I going to solve this? What are the ideas? Okay, go brain, but it gives you the freedom to do that. Anything else on the sensations? It feels overwhelming. Chest, tight, loose, warm, fuzzy, jaggedy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
What does it feel like?
Maybe tight,
Okay.
maybe. I don't have language for this, Diana. You're making
That's
me
why we're
think in a
just
different
doing it.
way.
That's okay. You don't need to, because just even allowing yourself to have this experience of awareness is teaching you.
Yeah.
I also want to say that overwhelm, I used to call it this, and many times it is like a cover emotion. That it's like if you ask deeper, and if we had like a full session, I'd be like, okay, why are you overwhelmed? And a lot of times it can be a fear that if you don't know, or like, I don't want to speak for you. Is there something beneath that? Why is that overwhelming?
Yeah, I think it's overwhelming because it's actually not because of a lack of ideas. And it's more about like the time and the amount of ideas that I might have and how to execute all of it. It feels so big in terms of the problem, just like experimenting with different ways. And I, as one person, feel very like constrained, like, oh my gosh, like how
so it's freezing you a little.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, it's confusing me
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
So I think honoring when this happens next time with a newer awareness can
Mhm.
be a way to get kind of process through it so that you can get on the other side of your intuition and like making a decision. That's what I want
Mhm.
to offer. I love using the model for awareness so that we can be more present and make decisions from that.
Mhm.
When you are overwhelmed, what do you do or not do? Like what happens as your reaction? What happens typically when you are overwhelmed?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm getting better at this as have more self-awareness, but I do think it can cause like loops, like you know what I mean in
Yeah.
the mind, like what are those called?
I just call them thought loops.
Yeah, just like, spinning, I guess a little bit.
Mhm.
It can also feel like frustration. Oh, that's not an action. But
Yeah, but that is triggering more. There's probably more like triggering almost another level. Like when we're stuck in a loop,
yes.
then that loop can say, now I'm frustrated because it's
Yeah.
like there's something happening here. Like your
Yeah.
mind isn't as clear or whatever. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you have a thought about being here too. Do you have a thought about being overwhelmed? Do you judge that
Wait.
you got overwhelmed?
Oh, do I judge that? I
Or
don't
do you
think
have
I
a
judge
thought about
them.
it?
No. You know what I think? I think I should sorry. I'm trying to
No, that's all
process all of
right.
this, and
Stay
it's not
there.
always on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah,
I
don't
think
rush.
I am like, I should do something differently. That's what I think. Like, okay, I've been
Mm.
doing all of these different, these things, and I want a change to the result. So I know I need to do something differently. And I think that, but then it doesn't sometimes it's like, it doesn't get to the action quick enough. Actually, I'm making some changes now ish, I'm trying some new things and whatnot, but I think like previously these have been,
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
So the thought is, this is really interesting. The
Yeah.
thought is really, I don't know, so I keep doing the same things.
Yeah.
And that's like overwhelming and frustrating because there's also this thought that I should be doing things
Doing
differently if
something
I want
different.
a different result.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah. Like I think I know from
Yeah.
the outside that
Yeah.
people who get like great big results are always pivoting and experimenting and doing new and different things, right? To figure out what works. But I freeze because I'm like, oh, I don't have the time to plan out all of that. I don't know how to hire for that. I don't know, and
Yeah.
this is where it comes back to the I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know all of these things.
Your
Yeah.
brain is doing a really good job of telling you you're right, that you don't know.
Yeah.
And I love, there's one question, I think the other LCS coaches will love this. Like, if you did know, what would you do? Like, it's sometimes that's the simplest question to use in these moments. If I did
Mm,
know, and I was the expert of my business that's going to grow, that like what you set out that vision,
yeah.
what would I do right now? But I
Mm,
think you're stuck in the brain believing that you don't know.
mm,
And the don't know doesn't create new ideas. It doesn't create creativity. It creates more of a shutdown for you.
mm,
And the more you're shut down when you're stuck in these thought loops, is that the result that you're doing the same thing?
mm-hmm.
And if you're
The
doing
result,
the
yeah.
same thing, you're doing the same thing because you don't know.
Yeah.
What could giving yourself some space and not judging and not believing your brain anymore that you don't know? Because you're in this business and you've done so many things that you didn't know last year.
Right. That's very true.
Yeah. And your brain might be protecting you from being bold right now. Your brain might, like, there's just this space where, well, I don't know. So, there's so many things you can't make a decision. You get really stuck in these loops. And then you're like saying, well, all people that really make it big always pivot. Not always.
Mm-hmm.
No, they honor their genius and do more of what they want. Like it's a
Mm-hmm.
whole different split.
Mm.
Yeah, what's coming up for you right now?
Well, I think when I said that, I don't mean pivot. I don't mean they
Yeah.
always pivot. I just mean that I think a lot of people who find great success are experimenting and like
Yeah.
open to new opportunity, you know. So that I guess that was the initial thought
Yeah.
there.
But I also think that you're using that against yourself like you're not.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right. Cause like I say all of these things, but then I'm like, wow, I've done like, you know, within the last 2 years, I launched a business, I launched a podcast, grew a community. Yeah. So it's like,
Yeah.
maybe I'm giving too much power to this thought that I'm not doing enough to
Yeah. And I think
make it
it's a
or
place of,
something. You know what I mean? Because I have this like idea of like making it.
yeah,
And I'm like,
maybe
oh,
you
I'm not
are.
growing fast enough. Yeah, like maybe it's happening. Yeah. Like
Maybe it
what
is
if I
happening already, and your brain is going, "Oh, this is a little uncomfortable."
yeah, yeah. Or like what if I just change my belief to say, oh, it is happening. What
Yeah.
would that look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
We're
writing
going to
that
flip
down.
this for you, but this is what you knew came up. All it is a thought. It can be
Yeah.
honored in the way like, oh, I'm there again when you feel the tightness and the overwhelm and frustration, the stuckness. Go, oh, my brain is in this thought model or this thought cycle. Take a deep
Yeah.
breath and interrupting it. The biggest interrupter there's two that interrupt these stuck models. One is curiosity. Ooh, what am I really
Mm.
believing right now? Ooh, what brought me here? What triggered me? Or do you hear how I heard judgment? Like I heard this little thread of a little bit of judgment. Self compassion is the
Mm.
other one. So
Okay.
being really like, oh, wait, where have I done this, brain? Like, oh, like you almost have a conversation with yourself. Like, this is
Mm.
where we be really kind that we're here because it's safer to just act like we
Yeah.
don't know. It's just protecting you from bold moves. But I know you. You went to Europe for 2 weeks around Christmas. You do these amazing, like, I'm looking at you going, what? Right?
It's so interesting what you say about that. And I really deeply want to feel that and know
Yeah.
that comparison is so
Yeah.
hard on the brain,
Yeah.
you know, and it's not, I have done a lot of work to overcome
Yeah.
comparing myself to others. But, you know, on social media, you're seeing all the things people are doing, and you're like, I mean, I don't, those thoughts aren't at the forefront of my mind typically,
Right.
but
And
I'm
that's
sure
why
like
it's important.
subconsciously
Yes.
they are there. And it's like, oh, I haven't made it yet because I'm not there, you know, or whatever
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is.
Whatever it is, the conclusion. And then it's going into the story in the moment where you're making decisions and deciding what to do and you're getting
Mhm.
frozen. And that sometimes is really a brain's protection. You know, it's like, oh, don't do the brave thing. We like it right here. We kind of like you safe and, you know, in the shoulds and the judgment. And it's like, oh no.
Mhm.
What I also want to go back to is I think what can help unlock this for you is really defining what success means for you right now. Because there's no comparison in that.
Mhm.
Success this year meant for me doubling down on all the people I was currently working in as I hit the second part of my year and buying my house. I just went for it and both of those
Mhm.
things. And what's wild is it created more clients, even though I wasn't focused on it. It created all these renewals. And I had a miraculous way that my house buying went. And it was like,
That's awesome.
wow. So like if I owned and doubled down on what success meant and it was scary to do because I backed off on
Yeah.
business development and a lot of events and I doubled down on what I really needed to pay attention to, my clients and my house buying. And it's brought me,
Mhm.
of course, it brought me a house that I can have events in. 2 weeks after I had my closing, I was having my first VIP day with a client here. And it was like exactly why I bought this house.
How often do you recommend re looking back at how you define something? So success or whatever else it might
Well,
be.
I think when you
I,
get stuck in this place, like I think when you're like
Mhm.
finding you're like feeling less than or you're feeling overwhelmed again and you don't know what to do next and you're kind of off track of your like what you really want to be creating and it's taking a pause and going, yeah, what would be really important to me in 3 months, taking some time to like, and get back to your guidance
Yeah.
and
Okay.
not outside.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Because you do have the
You
answer.
really did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you unlocked a couple things for me there. Like, it's the story. Sometimes I think we all do this, and I do this, right? It's like the story we're telling ourselves that it's not there yet, but in reality, like maybe it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I created money and wealth in a way that was so unexpected. And at a time when, like, so if I look at my revenue numbers, that looks so different than what I did this year. It was just a miracle. But it was because I owned what I really wanted to create, and I didn't know how it was going to work out.
Yeah.
And it worked out more. Now I have to, like, my brain still at the end of the year with less revenue than I normally have. I was like, oh, wait, are you going to shame that little, like, miracle and the things that are going on in your life? No.
Yeah.
Does that help? Do you feel
Mhm.
complete with that?
Yeah, I do. I think you hit on another idea there, which is like the uncertainty of business ownership. Yeah.
Yes. It's the
I
biggest
mean,
part.
yeah, like,
Damn it.
yeah, I know, right? And like your corporate job, like the success metric of finances was never in question, right?
Right,
But
right.
now it's like, well, oh
Yeah.
gosh, like,
So
you know,
deciding some of the other metrics that are important to you could be a really good way to not get in this loop. Does that make sense?
yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I think I did so much work on that in 2024. I'm getting so much better with
Yeah.
dealing with the uncertainty, but I think it must come up for many people
I
um,
I
regularly
yes.
because it's so hard and
Yeah.
especially in different types of markets.
Yeah. The Emily's not on anymore, is she? Oh yeah, she's upper left. Sorry, I didn't. But like Emily was just saying, I don't know if I have the, what it take, the kind of the heart, the gumption to be a solo owner. It just requires a lot of our well-being and our emotional regulation and all those things. It just absolutely does. Okay, yeah, Dana, 1,000%. Yes. And when we can trust what
And
success looks like for us and we stay on that path and we stop looking for outside, I looked for 4 years to be told I was a good coach. And I deep down intuitively knew I was a good coach, but I was taking the outside metrics of the school that we were in, that a six-figure coach
yeah.
was something different than the coach I was at the time. And now I've almost willingly chosen years where I'm making less than 100K. That was this year. And now I'm choosing next year to double it. But
Yeah.
maybe not dollars, maybe impact. I don't know. I don't know what that end is for me. Yeah. Does that make
No,
sense?
it's
I
really
hope
good.
those
And
examples
actually, I
help.
think it does. And like Elizabeth Garvish, I think you know her as well. She just wrote something the other day, exactly the same, that she defines her success on how on track she is with her inner compass. And I'm like, oh,
Yes.
that was mind blowing for me because, like you said, I think we're taught so often that external validation is how we feel success, but it's flipping the switch,
Yeah.
you know?
It's flipping the script.
Yeah, the script. Yeah.
But the switch too in our own brains, but it's flipping the script that we have been taught that it takes massive hours, it takes massive investment, it takes
Yeah.
all this extra. You're going to burn out if you grow. Like that's one thing that's nagging at me is I'm going big this year and doing some things that I know I've never done before. And
Mhm.
I don't know what that really looks like. I just know that I'm much more open and confident about that happening. But I got to tell you that it still is like, oh, you can't, like, no, you can't do it.
Mhm.
You're not like all that subconscious, like what you said, and you not having words was so poignant because these are subconscious things that are going on in the background. And that's why coaching can be so helpful, is it really can dig into the nuances of what's going on to free us to just enjoy ourselves and have fun in our businesses.
I'm so
With
grateful. Thank you for taking me through that.
Oh, I appreciate you offering. It's a gift. So let's do one more. Who wants to put their result in the line here and then backtrack on how you need to believe and think? Like what are ways, are some intentional ways to create what you want this year? Would anybody like to be offered to be coached?
I would love to offer to be coached.
Go, Cheryl. So what result like really got your attention in this work that we're doing today that you would like to create this year?
A graceful transition.
And give me some specifics about what that means. And that might be some of your work is to define that a little bit. But what does a graceful transition look like?
No surprises, comfort.
For who?
Mm,
Comfort for you or the team or the organization?
The organization.
Okay.
Confidence, I should say. Maybe confidence is what I meant.
That's okay. So what actions do you think would be really important? I know we've touched on some of this. What are some of the actions that you would like to put in place that you think would create a graceful transition?
A plan.
Okay. What does that plan include?
Everything.
Yeah, and see, that's where it gets overwhelming. Are there some specific things that when you think about ending this year and putting this organization on a great trajectory, because it's not just a year you have 2 years, what are some actions and things that you could take this year to create that? Just you got it moving.
So research, looking to mentors who have done this.
Yeah, so mentors for ideas.
And maybe not being afraid. I've read so much about how you're supposed to keep this kind of quiet, once it's mentioned, it's out to the community, but maybe not, not being afraid to.
Does this resonate? Intentional instead of like it's a big secret and then all of a sudden you're gone.
Right. Yes.
Like there's something in here, and this does come from the time we spent together in a call, is that the taking the lead on this, even though this is very new and something you've never done before, to lean in and lead how you want this to go. Like just, does that resonate here? Like, because this feels like at first, like something was happening to you and to the organization that you're going to be gone and all of a sudden, poof. Or in these next 2 years, what can you do to lead the organization through? Have I gotten off track?
No, I just heard it as a rhetorical question.
It's okay. I just want to know if that resonates. Like that's where feeling, what would you need? I want this to come from you, not me. What would you need to be more intentional about this, get more insight, like from others, and to get to planning? How would you have to feel for that to happen?
I would need support from other people. I do.
Yeah, so supported can be an
Yeah.
emotion. This can be from yourself and creating it from others. What else? And these are emotions. So these are what would you have to feel for this to be easy?
I know I'm throwing in something new here, but
That's okay.
I mean, I feel like an imposter because like you said, I've never had to do this before, but neither has the association. So I'm their first executive director. So,
oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah.
so I guess I need to not be afraid because going back to what Kristen said, the inner compass is pretty good.
Yeah.
Even though I seek out that external validation all the time.
Yeah. And that's coming from like Kristen's, that it's like your brain is offering that you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But that can be just a thought. Yeah, no one in the organization knows, and you can learn from others. But I think these resonate with me from what you shared, but I want them to be from you.
Yeah.
Supported, feeling supported, which that can come internally as well as asking for it externally, confident and trusting yourself.
Yeah.
And what would you have to believe and think on a more regular basis to create those emotions?
That I've done a good job for the past years,
Yeah.
extremely good job. And I'll probably do this right too. In fact, I know I'll do it right
Yeah.
because that's what I do.
Yeah. And the newness is making you feel a little shaky right now. And I think, Cheryl, that's where you just honor your own evidence up to this point.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like making this transition. You're the only executive director that they've had. You have done a great job. There are shifts in the, in nonprofits right now because of, donations going down and stuff. But like you reminding yourself that you get to lead this organization forward in these 2 years with everything that you bring to the plate and creating an environment where you feel supported, confident, and trust. But us, two things can be true at once. It also is hard and there's grief and there is a big shift.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Is there anything else coming up in your awareness looking at this?
Just that I know I'm not the only one in the room, but I find activity like this. I'm getting a lot out of this, Diana, from Kristen's too. And I'm somehow shaming myself that I haven't been able to get here either on my own or by reading that good self-help book or something like that.
Right. No.
So I'm feeling I'm still in at a girl.
Yeah.
You can do it. And it's okay to get this to be among others. It's a lonely, many of us are probably in positions that are quite lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And that the peer group is not right there,
So that's the supported piece.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah. And I just want to say that a lot of this is the nuance of understanding. Like we can have a dramatic event happen and we know why we're upset. But when we're going through big things and we're feeling all these things at once, it's like, but I'm confident. Why am I feeling all this stuff? There's so much subconscious work and nuance going on. And yes, Sherry, we are living inside our own heads. And the more that we can't see there's a self-awareness that many times we use against ourselves. So this is where coaching and being in community where someone else can say to you, how did you just talk to yourself?
Yeah. But it is that self-awareness also has gotten us places too.
Yes. Yes. It's like, let's own all of us that are brave enough to run the businesses we're running, like hell fucking yes. And go through what Emily's going through with another transition is like, whoa, we are brave and courageous. But the gorgeous journey of being self-aware of your thinking and allowing a guide, a coach, and also friends, mentors to help see what you're thinking and like, hey, and allowing that awareness to not be used against yourself. Like meeting these awarenesses with compassion and curiosity. Because the real truth is that we are fucking badasses. We really are. And we creating not a toxic positivity conversation in our brain, like, go get it, girl, you got this, and ignore that we felt like shit in the morning is not the way. It's honoring the both and having conversations with others when you're really stuck. Because it is subconscious. So much of this work is subconscious. So this brings me to an offer. I do one-off sessions, but they last for 2 weeks. I love them. So I have a 90-minute session that's $500. It is a week. It can be a week preparation, like I've helped people in job interviews, or like what it depends on the timing. And there's a week of Voxer coaching before and a week after, or 2 weeks, wherever, if it starts at that session, so that you can dig into something, a decision you're making, go deeper with this session where you are able to really come out with what marching orders for yourself on something very specific. So I don't like to leave anyone uncoached, and that's why I offer a one-off session, because they can be really, really good for me. I learn what's going on with people, and I can help you through a season, a situation, or like give you that bolst, that you need. So that's why I offer one-off sessions. I do work with intense sprints, 6-session books of like with people are on a lighter budget. I have a 6-session series that we plunk those sessions in where you feel best. They expire in 4 to 5 months, but we do that in a way that really honors what you're going through. And I have 3 and 6 month and year long. I'm really building my practice of year long coaching because most of my clients stay with me a year. And so that is also what I offer. So I want people to know what I'm about, so that if you have someone in your life, or if you're feeling a nudge today, you understand there's a lot of different ways we can work together. Last but not least, we've got a few more minutes. Any questions on anything we've covered so far? Especially the model, because that was new and fast and different. Yep. So what do you need to create that supports everything that you learned today? Is it go plan that first vacation? Is it plan yes, I can, Emily, I will share the model in a note. I might even do a little video. And you'll have this video of the whole session, and eventually on my list, you'll have it time stamped. It just takes a while for the tech to do that for us. We're putting these on YouTube with the link only. They're not public yet. But what is getting your attention after all this? You've processed like your vision. You've really given yourself permission to dream. Now you kind of looked at what your brain's offering in resistance. What do you need to put in place that you'd love some accountability on from this group? Like if you walked up to one of us in the grocery store and we got like, have you planned that vacation? Have you done this? Have you done, like what is an action you really know you need to take to support yourself going forward? And you can share it or not, but I want like owning that. Yes.
I like the idea that you brought up at the beginning of the meeting where you check in with a coach about your word of the year.
Yeah.
Because I have done the word of the year and I repeated the same word last year because I didn't feel like I really got into it enough the first year.
Oh, lovely.
And I have a different word this year, but I need to be held accountable to that word. I need to remind myself more that that's it.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Okay. Yeah, so I would calendarize that and put it on your calendar and have someone in your community that you can talk about your business with and have that conversation. Anybody else? What do you know you need to provide for yourself to get where you want to go this year? If you know yet. Yes, Emily. Yeah, Cheryl, love that idea. Send yourself a delayed email message scheduling 3 months from now or a month from now, however yes, that is accountability. I must remind myself that no matter what, the universe has had my back 100% of the time. I believe, after knowing so much of your story, Emily, that you're going to look back on this and see a lot of divine intervention. But it just doesn't make sense right now. Or it does. And there's that waiting. for it to be. Anything else that you'd like to share? And I want to let you all know, I will be offering these every 90 days as a regular part of my business. I did 2 of them this year because of the end of the year. It may be sooner than that, but don't say, oh, I've done that already with Diana, I shouldn't do it again. When I offer things complimentary, you are welcome to attend as often as you like. Get what you need. Stay in my community. All right. Shall we close? What is one action that you are going to take that is part of everything that happened here? What is one thing? You can put it in the comments or share it out loud. What is one step you're going to take from having this time? Don't all go at once. I love you all.
I'll go. I'm going to determine
Thank
my
you.
time.
Pardon?
I'll break the silence. I'm going to determine my time. Like I'm going
Yeah.
to find what it is. It might be a few hours. It might be one day. It might, but that I am on
My
strict
time.
orders. My time, because I love working more than anything else. So I'll throw anything on my off time. So, but, and it has to be something outside, something I don't typically do. So I want to break some habits.
Thoroughbred out of the gate and go run and play.
Yeah, just doing this, I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Letting that go. Just,
I
yeah.
love that. We all have an inner child and a crone, I call it. And our crone operates when we release the negative, heady, crappy conversation. You know, the crone can speak up, but the inner child needs to know she's safe to play. And that could be just such an energy in your business, Kim. I love it. I love it. Anybody else? I love Cheryl. Bring my support group together earlier than I thought. Yeah, don't push off needing support. Get it now. Like you are just seeing that so clearly. I'll be going for a walk for clarity. This was so beautiful to participate. It was wonderful to hear others in similar mindset transitions and focus. Yeah. Usually it's so great how there's so many similarities and synergies in each of the sessions. It happens all the time because of our humanness and what we're up to in the world. Yeah, feel the support of my community. Yeah, Michelle. All right. I love you all more than you might imagine. The honor of you taking the time to be in this container is a huge blessing for me. And I just look forward to seeing, like now I feel like I've been given an up close and personal view of what you're going to be up to this year. And I can't wait to see what it is, like what it looks like a year from now. So definitely sign up when I do this next December. Oh, all right. Any questions or thoughts? Yeah. Bold moves, everybody. I love you guys so much. This was terrific. Great way to do any regular Tuesday on a cold day in Atlanta. Damn it. All right. I'm going to sign off. You will get recordings. If there's anything specific you need, like I will share the thought model, just email me back and say, hey, I need this, or I need clarification or anything. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Love you all.